I'm Charlize Fernandez. I'm a lead here at Next Lab, and today we're going to be talking about sound design in Unity. After everyone's downloaded that package, then you can just click New Project, and we'll just make a 3D one, and then you can name it whatever. I'm just going to name it Sound Design P2P. So yeah, the 3D project template, and then create. So basically today we're going to focus on things like audio source and audio listener. These are like built-in things in Unity that allow us to enhance our scenes with music and sound effects. In the package, then there should already be everything you'll need for this workshop, but I'll also talk about pulling assets from like the asset store and outside sources too. Once you've downloaded the package, there's a couple ways you can import it in. You could do import package, custom package, and then you can find it probably in your downloads. So like here. Or you can just open your file explorer and then from your downloads, drag it into your project window in Unity. And then once it's in there, then you should be able to see like an import button, and then you just click that. So this comes with prepackaged scenes already. So yeah, in the scene, there's a couple different environments. And the goal with music and audio is to kind of pick audio and music that makes sense or gives off the certain vibe you want. So for example, if you have a horror scene and you want it to feel scary, you would probably add suspenseful music or like weird wind sounds or stuff like that. Or if you're an action scene, you probably want like fast-paced music and like, I don't know, explosions or whatever. If you look through the package and you don't like any of those scenes, or you have an idea for something else, you can go to the Unity asset store. Well, I guess you can just look up like, I don't know, I'll just look up horror room. And then let's go see if there's any free ones. Well, there's a morgue room. So if anyone wants to use this and not any of the ones in the package, then all you'd have to do is just add to my assets. So when you add to your assets, then you just accept it. And then you can open it in Unity. And then it'll open your package manager. And you can download. And then it'll download. And then import. Just click import for all of it. So that's if you want to like pull a different scene, or if you have like a different idea for what you want to do. And then just click import. Yeah. So then it should show up here in your asset folder. But if you download the one that I sent or that I prepared, then if you just click scenes, there's like different ones. Scene 1 is like an RPG landscape, low poly. Scene 2 is a radio room, and scene 3 is like a medieval library. I'm just gonna use this one, but the rest of it is there as like an option. So then this is what it looks like. And another thing for setup is in all these scenes, there's already a first-person controller, but if you are wanting to do your own room, then you can just look up first-person controller here in the asset store, and then just follow the same process basically. I use this one. So you can just use this one if you are making your own scene. And then just follow the same thing with like add to my assets, open in Unity. You can just drag this prefab in to like the hierarchy and then put it where you want to, and then you should be able to play it. Finally, in the package, I also have the audio. So I have like different music sets and stuff like that. But for example, if you have this type of scene, then I would probably go for like adventure type music or like retro game village music or something like that. Yeah, just like look at your scene and you can go through these things, and then you can just click once and listen to it. just the 8-bit music. There's also like just some other type of game music. They're all different. Again, if you don't like any of these and you want to find your own, then you can go back to the Unity store again. And then just like look up, look up music or audio. Or you can click this thing, the filter, the audio filter, and then free assets again. And then, yeah, this is where I got the 8-bit music from, but there's a bunch of them. Okay, so I'm just going to use the 8-bit music one because I like the 8-bit music. There's different ways you can add music or implement music into a scene. Sometimes you want it to kind of just be playing no matter where you are, basically like in the background. And to do this, you'll have to go to the game object. You can either go up here or just right click there and create empty, or go up to game object and then create empty. And then I'm just gonna name this background music. And this is the important part. So you would go here into the inspector on this side, and then you would add a audio source, and then it'll show this whole thing. Basically audio sources are they're like pretty self-explanatory. They're like where the music is coming from, and then your camera, which in this case is in here. Every camera or every scene has an audio listener, which is what like kind of takes in and listens to all the music or audio that's being played in the scene. But more on that later. So these are all the like properties and things. So for audio clip, then you can just click here and go through all your tracks and choose whatever you want, or you can just drag into here. There. So that's the 8-bit music one. This is for audio mixing. I'll talk about that later. This is mute. This is basically if you don't want it to play in the scene, you'll just click that. And then all these bypass ones are, you can like have global settings, but you can just, by bypassing this, then you'll just kind of ignore it basically. Yeah, if you hover over it says. And then play on awake, if you click on this, this is what like sets it to automatically play whenever you go, when you press the play button. And then I'm gonna press loop because I want it to loop basically. Priority is if you have multiple audio sources, then you can like set it to high or low priority. Volume, pitch, these are kind of like your standard, like making it higher frequency or making the pitch lower, things like that. And then stereo pan is if you want it to be more on the left or right side. So if you're using headphones, you can hear it better, the difference better. And then spatial blend is kind of like the aspect that helps the most with immersion. So spatial blend, if it's 2D, it'll basically just play in the scene kind of like flatly, like no matter where you are. 3D will make it kind of dependent on a certain like object and range. But since this is just the background music, you can just leave it as 2D since we want it to be heard from everywhere. And then reverb zone is kind of like where it kind of how much it mixes with like in the environment. Unless you want it to reverb, I'd probably keep most of these like the same setting. Unless you want to make it louder or you don't like the volume, etc., etc. So if you have the first-person controller, then you should be able to just go in the scene and walk around, and then you'll hear the music. So I'll just play this. So that was background music. You can add sound effects though, if you wanted to like have a certain source. So for example, I added like forest sounds to this tree. So I took that from the nature folder that I put in there. And then there's a bunch in here, and I also want this to loop. So if I put this to 3D or like up to 1, I'm just gonna mute the music so that you can just hear the birds. And I'm gonna try. Okay, so if you like go to linear, hopefully you can hear the difference. Yeah, like you can hear it more already, and then it gets like louder more steadily, if that makes sense. And you have to like go pretty far to stop hearing it. And then you can do custom, which is you can mess around with like the graph and do whatever you want. But for like the most natural sounding ones, then you can just set it to logarithmic roll off, basically. I'm going to add some more sounds, I guess, here. So I'm gonna add like wind. Just do like wind and loop it. I can also do different sounds too, like a forest one. These are kind of quiet tracks, so I might like go back and find some new ones. So it might be a little hard to hear, but hopefully you can hear like breeze sounds. There's another thing too. If you want more sound effects too, there's a bunch of like free sites you can go to get stuff. So if you go like to freesound.org, that's one of them. They have like a bunch of sounds. These come from like a bunch of people. So piano. Or you can like put thunder. Yeah, if you have like a fireplace, then you can look up fireplace, and there should be like a bunch of sounds that come up here. And you can download these. These are all free. There are some here, but you probably have a more like versatile or like wider range of stuff you can find if you go to like external sites. I can add more stuff here. I'm going to go to my other scene. So this is like this is just like a radio house. So for example, for this one, I can probably want to add like sound radio music to that. And then I'm gonna just take this radio object and click audio source. And then go to, I'm just gonna go in here and put this in here. And then I'm going to make it 3D. So the reason you can do 3D is because of the audio listener attached to the camera. Because the listener's attached to like where the camera is, and when you move around, then it'll like take in the sound differently. Let's see if this works. You can mess around, and then you can also add like filters to this. So if you just do audio, there's a bunch of filters. I'm going to do like a distortion one. And then this might sound horrible, but I'll just do I'll do one. Okay, that's not so bad. And since it's already a radio sound, it's probably not the best filter, but you can also do an echo filter. It's hard to hear, so I'll do it with a different sound effect, basically. So if I want to do like wind, I'll do wind again. Actually, there's like cave audio, so maybe I'll just like attach it to this ladder, sort of. It doesn't make sense, but that's okay. You can sort of hear it, but these ambient ones are kind of quiet, so I will do a different one. But instead of radio static, you can attach like a song to it too. So I'm gonna just do this one. That one's interesting. And then I'll go back to the radio and I'll change this to this one. And then so now you can hear the echo a little better. It's like playing over itself a bit. And there's other filters, so you can mess around with them based on what you want to do. I'll show them again. So chorus, reverb, reverb zone. But if you have the bypass on these audio sources, then it'll like ignore that if it's inside a reverb zone. The dry mixes and stuff. These are like, well, maybe I'll just show you because it's kind of hard to explain. Not all of these have dry mixes, so this one's kind of like with its track, I guess. Well, okay, let's see the other ones that have dry mix. It was also, there's chorus. When you were like mixing audio, I guess it's kind of like how it mixes together. And with the chorus, you'll have more than one, so I guess it's sort of kind of like how much you want it to pass through and the volume. For example, because chorus and all these ones have like, they kind of play over each other, I guess. But then they kind of play at each other in different volumes and things like that. There's another thing, another like setting, I mean. There's this thing called Doppler level, which is referring to the Doppler effect. And the Doppler effect is basically kind of like when things kind of move fast, it kind of results in a pitch change. So like when you're hearing cars speeding by you really quickly, the sound will kind of like change in pitch really fast. And you can hear it with like most fast moving objects that have a sound to it. So if you want to like see that here in a scene, you can do this thing. I'm just gonna take these off. But for example, this headphone has like constant force attached to it, so it meaning it'll like kind of fly around and stuff. And then if you add an audio source to it and enable 3D sound, and I'm just gonna add like a beep to it, I guess, like this. And then I'll do loop. And I'm gonna just keep it a little quieter. And I'll do, and then like 50. And hopefully this will work. But basically, it should be able to. Actually, wait 1 second. I can attach it to here. was the setting? I think I'll do like 10 and 20. And then audio listener, or I mean audio source, not audio listener. And then I'll click one of these and loop it. Maybe this will work a little better. So there, that's the example of the Doppler effect. And you can do it, so like, I guess I'll just do it again. So you can hear it now, then make a weird warp noise. If you heard that. So those are super helpful for like things that kind of like leave the scene really quickly. I'm just gonna mess around with it a little bit. I guess we could add a reverb zone too. So, oops. If I do this, and well, I think there should be already like 2 sounds happening here, so we can just like see what happens. It's a little hard to hear since it's all kind of mixing together, but they would like bounce off each other, I guess. Let's see what else. Yeah, and then there's already presets and stuff, so if it's already in a room, then it'll give like a quality to it that already sounds like how sound actually echoes in these places. And then I'll add like background music too to this scene actually. Well, I have the audio here, so I can just like make it 2D. And then it should play. Sorry, there's like a lot of noise happening in this one. What else should I put in there? I can add more. I can go back to the radio effects. So, oh yeah, last thing is the audio mixer. So audio mixer it's an asset, so you'll have to make one here actually. And create there, audio mixer, and then I'm gonna set this to master. Okay. And then if you have all your audio tracks, so you can go here, and then this is like, if you want it to be in a certain group, here, I'm gonna put it there. And I guess I'll add another thing that has music. So actually, I'm just gonna add like wind music. I could do like cicadas, I guess. But like you're outside in the middle of nowhere is what I would say. And then put it in here. Okay. I won't make that. I'll loop it too. Where did I put that? Okay. And these are all these. And then it'll play in there. Edit in play mode. Oops. It sounds really weird now. I'm actually going to get rid of the sound. And I'll do a different one. I'll just do like the radio static again. Actually. Oops. Actually, I think the other scene will be easier. I have to do this. So I'm gonna go back to this area. I'm going to add, sorry, I'm just adding like more sound effects to everywhere. It'll like mix the audio together basically. If any of you have ever used a like Audacity or one of the more standard audio platforms, then like Unity kind of has one, but so this is how you like change, instead of like doing one audio source at a time, you can like affect a whole like group of sounds. And then you can like edit the whole thing too through like depending on how you group it together, if that makes sense. I think I covered mostly everything that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, that was the workshop.